Imagine a world where your phone no longer waits for your commands, but understands your intent before you even speak it. A world where you don't scroll endlessly through apps, switch between tabs, or repeat the same tasks every day. Instead, your device quietly observes, learns, and acts almost like a thoughtful companion guiding your digital life. For years, smartphones have evolved in predictable ways: better cameras, faster processors, sharper displays. Yet, at their core, they still depend on one thing: apps. Every action you take is fragmented across dozens of interfaces, demanding your attention, your time, and your effort. But now, something fundamentally different is emerging. Recent developments suggest that OpenAI is exploring a new kind of device, one built not around apps, but around intelligence itself. A phone where conversations replace clicks, and outcomes matter more than interactions. And this shift is significant enough that even a giant like Apple, Incorporated, the creator of the modern smartphone experience, may need to pay close attention. So today, let us explore this idea together, not just as technology enthusiasts, but as seekers trying to understand where this path might lead us. To understand why this idea is so transformative, we must first ask a simple question: what exactly is an AI phone? At first glance, it may sound like just another smartphone with smarter features. But the concept being explored by OpenAI goes far deeper than incremental upgrades. This is not about adding AI to existing systems, it is about rebuilding the entire experience around AI as the core interface. In today's world, your phone operates through apps. Each task, whether booking a ride, sending an email, or planning a trip, requires you to choose an app, navigate its interface, and manually complete steps. You are constantly switching contexts, making decisions, and doing the work. An AI phone challenges this model completely. Instead of apps, it relies on intelligent agents, systems capable of understanding your intent, breaking down tasks, and executing them autonomously. You no longer interact with software in fragments, you simply express what you need. For example, rather than opening multiple apps to organize your day, you might say, "Prepare my schedule for tomorrow," and the system handles everything: meetings, reminders, travel, and adjustments, seamlessly. In essence, the phone stops being a collection of tools, and becomes a unified intelligence designed around you. Now, you may wonder, what kind of technology could make such a device possible? To answer that, we must look beneath the surface, beyond apps and interfaces, into the architecture itself. The vision being explored by OpenAI is not simply about software innovation, it is about deep integration between AI models and the hardware they run on. Traditional smartphones rely heavily on cloud processing. When you use voice assistants or AI features, much of the computation happens on remote servers. This creates delays, raises privacy concerns, and limits how responsive or personalized the system can truly be. An AI-first phone aims to change this by bringing intelligence directly onto the device. This is where specialized chips come into play. Companies like Qualcomm and MediaTek are developing processors optimized for AI workloads, capable of handling complex models efficiently in real time. These chips are designed not just for speed, but for understanding context, running continuous learning loops, and enabling instant decision-making. What does this mean for you? It means your device could process requests instantly without relying on the cloud. Maintain better privacy by keeping data local. Adapt dynamically based on your habits and environment. In simple terms, intelligence is no longer something your phone accesses, it becomes something your phone is. And that shift, from connected device to autonomous system, is what makes this evolution truly profound. Let us now turn to a question that may feel almost unthinkable: what happens if the very concept of apps disappears? For over a decade, the smartphone ecosystem has been built around applications. Platforms like the App Store and Google Play have shaped how we interact with technology, each app acting as a separate gateway to a specific function. Whether it is booking a cab, ordering food, or managing your finances, every task requires you to choose, open, and navigate an app. This model has defined the success of companies like Apple Incorporated, whose ecosystem thrives on tightly integrated applications and services. But an AI-first approach challenges this foundation. Instead of interacting with multiple apps, you communicate a single intent. The system, powered by intelligent agents, interprets your request, coordinates across services, and delivers the outcome without exposing you to the underlying steps. For example, you might say, plan a weekend getaway within my budget, and the AI would search destinations, compare travel options, book tickets and accommodation, organize your itinerary, all without you opening a single app. This represents a fundamental shift from interface-driven computing to intent-driven computing. In such a world, apps do not disappear entirely, but they fade into the background. They become invisible infrastructure rather than visible destinations. And if that happens, the way we think about smartphones, and the power structures behind them, may change forever. At this point, you may begin to see why this idea carries deeper implications, especially for a company like Apple Incorporated. Apple did not just build a smartphone, it defined an entire ecosystem. Its strength lies in the seamless integration of hardware, software, and services, all centered around the App Store model. Every interaction, every transaction, and every experience flows through this carefully designed structure. This ecosystem has been extraordinarily successful because it gives Apple control. Control over distribution. Control over user experience. Control over revenue streams. But the concept being explored by OpenAI introduces a different philosophy. If users no longer rely on apps as primary interfaces, then the App Store itself becomes less central. If tasks are handled by AI agents that operate across services, then the traditional boundaries Apple depends on begin to blur. Even Apple is aware of this shift. It has started integrating more advanced AI capabilities into its ecosystem, gradually enhancing Siri and introducing on-device intelligence features. Yet, these efforts still build upon the existing app-based framework. OpenAI, on the other hand, is asking a more radical question. What if the framework itself is no longer necessary? This is where the tension lies. Apple is optimizing the current paradigm, while OpenAI is attempting to redefine it. And when two such approaches collide, it is often a sign that the industry is approaching a turning point. There is another dimension to this story that makes it even more intriguing: the role of design, and the people shaping it. Technology alone does not create revolutions. It is the combination of engineering and design that transforms a powerful idea into something people truly want to use. And in this case, OpenAI appears to understand that deeply. Reports have pointed toward the involvement of Johnny Ive, the legendary designer behind many of Apple's most iconic products, including the iPhone. His design philosophy has always centered on simplicity, clarity, and removing friction between the user and the experience. This is significant, because if the goal is to move beyond apps and screens filled with icons, then the interface itself must be reimagined. It is no longer about arranging buttons more efficiently, it is about reducing the need for buttons altogether. With someone like Johnny Ive involved, the ambition becomes clearer. To design a device that feels intuitive, almost invisible. To create interactions that rely on conversation rather than navigation. To make technology fade into the background of everyday life. In many ways, this echoes the early days of Apple, when products were not just functional but almost magical in how naturally they fit into human behavior. And now, the designer who helped define that era may be contributing to a new one, this time, centered around artificial intelligence. If that vision is realized, the result may not feel like using a smartphone at all, but something entirely new. Before we move too far into possibility, it is important to pause and examine the realities that stand in the way of this vision. While the concept of an AI-first phone is compelling, turning it into a widely adopted product is a far more complex challenge. Even a company as ambitious as OpenAI must navigate a landscape shaped by powerful incumbents, entrenched user habits, and technical constraints. To begin with, the smartphone market is already dominated by giants like Apple Incorporated and Samsung Electronics. These companies control vast distribution networks, loyal user bases, and deeply integrated ecosystems. Competing at that scale requires not just innovation, but sustained execution over years. Then there is the question of user behavior. People are to apps, they understand them, trust them, and have built routines around them. Shifting billions of users toward an entirely new interaction model will require more than technological superiority, it will require a clear and immediate improvement in everyday experience. There are also ecosystem challenges. Services like messaging, payments, and media are tightly interwoven with existing platforms. Replacing or abstracting them through AI agents introduces complexities around compatibility, reliability, and trust. And finally, there is the matter of time. Hardware development, supply chains, and global rollout cycles are inherently slow. Even optimistic projections suggest that such devices may take several years before reaching maturity. So while the vision points toward the future, the path to get there is neither simple nor guaranteed. And it is precisely this tension, between bold ambition and practical limitation, that will determine whether this idea becomes a revolution, or remains a fascinating possibility. As we come to the end of this exploration, it is worth reflecting on what all of this truly represents. What OpenAI is attempting is not merely the creation of another device. It is an attempt to redefine our relationship with technology itself, to move from systems we operate, to systems that understand and assist us with minimal effort. For years, companies like Apple Incorporated have refined the smartphone into something elegant, powerful, and indispensable. And yet, even the most advanced devices today still require constant attention, taps, swipes, decisions, and navigation. The AI-first vision suggests something quieter, more fluid. Technology that anticipates rather than reacts. Interfaces that disappear rather than demand interaction. Experiences shaped by intent, not effort. Whether this vision succeeds or not is still uncertain. But its very existence signals a shift in how the future is being imagined. Perhaps the next revolution will not be defined by what a device can do, but by how little it asks of you. If this perspective resonated with you, consider continuing this journey. Stay curious, keep questioning, and observe closely, because the changes unfolding today may quietly shape the world you live in tomorrow. Until next time, remain thoughtful in how you engage with technology.